Hello viewers, welcome to Grand Oak in the Disaster. I call it that car because I don't really see it on the track very much. I've seen it win once and I usually see it at the back of the grid. So I thought, why not give it a try out? And I did race it on one track earlier. I think it was this track earlier, and did one lap in it, a couple of laps in it, and I had to tune the car up and everything. I found it very hard on tyres. Like, it did absolutely eat through a good set of tyres. And I did find it understeered a real huge amount, so I had to massively soften up the suspension and rebound stiffness and anti-roll bars to try and get somewhat of a cornering ability out of it, where it doesn't corner a little bit and go straight on. You know, the understeer was unreal in this car, but I've got it to a satisfactory standard at the moment. Again, this car is not even the fastest in the straight line, but it's actually quite a good car. As we're coming through this corner now, take the outside line, not the optimal part of the track due to the camera road not being on my side, and the Hyundai had a hell of a boost to that corner compared to me. Got an Audi to my rear right now, so they're going to be quicker. You see them making a move now. We'll be braking down to third gear, cutting in, but the Audi goes up the inside, so do the old switcheroo and go up the inside of the second part of the corner. They have a little bit of a door rub, but ultimately we make it work. Going around this corner now, we have three cars ahead. We have a Link, we have an Hyundai and an MG. The Audi, I don't know where that car's gone behind me. They did clip my door and I think they've got punted quite far back. Anyway, we are in P12. Trying to keep up in the slipstream of the Link. The Link is a very strong car on this track. I think P1 or 2 are Links. I'm not 100% sure, but the Link does go off track a little bit, come back on, and I do help him straighten out. I don't mind having a little bit of a helping hand. Sometimes we all make mistakes, and yeah, that guy was pretty sideways. Anyway, coming through this next corner now, the cars in front do have a far better exit than I do. I'm not used to going around this track this way around. It's usually the other way around, and it's caught me quite off guard this race, to be fair. And yeah, the MG does go don't know where they're going. Probably get some shopping, get some groceries, things like that. The Hyundai decides, yeah, I just don't get this race. Hyundai turns into a lawnmower. But yeah, anyway, break into this corner now, down the third gear, clipping the curb on the right hand side. The Link makes a really good move up the inside there. I quite like that move, to be fair. It's a move I would play. And that's what I like about touring cars, is a little bit of door rubbing like that, a bit of shoveling yourself through. It's all part of the fun. Again, I did go off track a little bit, but I didn't get punted so far wide that I couldn't recover from it. Now, with the Link being in front and them having far more power than I do, we can go down this track together and try and catch up to the Hyundai that's getting away from us. The Hyundai does seem very quick along this track, and I do have a Hyundai in my rear view mirror. Letting off in this corner, trying to look for a move on the Link. I do attempt to go around the outside, but the lack of grip on the track is quite obvious, and the lack of grip on the hard tyres is quite obvious. The Hyundai capitalises on that situation and starts sniffing around me, and the Link is getting away. It's not something I wanted to happen, but it is what it is. The Hyundai does make that move, overtakes me, and well, I can keep up the Hyundai, I guess. Breaking into the corner, fourth gear, rubbing that curb on the right hand side, accelerating out the corner, and up the hill we go. Could have gone through that a little bit quicker, maximize more of the track, but again I was held up by the Hyundai in front. Coming down here now, braking down to third gear, and I'm rubbing the curb on the right hand side and swooping it in tight again on the exit. As we're coming through here, we want to keep it to the right hand side and bring it back over to the left and come through this corner. Try and maximize the track width as well as the grip overall. Bring it back over to the left hand side and then cutting the corner on the right. As we're going through this corner now, the Link in front ends up going off track, goes into the gravel trap and absolutely destroys their speed. So that is them out of the game behind me. I've got to try and catch up to the Hyundai in front. Now, the Hyundai is a very capable car, and I do think it's quite a lot better than the Astra. Although I've never driven it, it does seem to be a very good overall car. But we're going to try and make this Astra work, try and keep up the two Hyundais in front. As you can see, we are catching up to the Hyundai that is 2 cars ahead. So by working together, we can hopefully try and overtake that Hyundai in itself. I don't want to try and battle the car in front. Moreover, learn how to take this track better, as well as catching up to and making a few places overall. Over the hill we go, down the other side, halfway over, braking down to third gear, cutting that corner on the right hand side, and then swinging it round and trying to go in this corner as tight as you can. Over the curb we go, swing it to the right a little bit more, and then back over to the left, let the back end step out a little bit and ride the slide better than I just did. As you can see, I lost a little bit of time from the two cars in front, so that is quite painful. We are quite a lot quicker this lap than we are on our previous laps. We're setting a 121 at the end of this if we're keeping up. Yep, 121.091. So we are quicker this lap, but again, that last corner before we come through, or second to last corner, sorry, you want to get that back end stepping out a little bit more than what I just did. You can see we did catch up to that car in front. They're going a little bit wide, so I'm going to try and look up the inside, but ultimately I don't make it work. Everybody else is on a tyre advantage compared to me because everybody's on medium tyres. In my experience, the medium tyres did not last this race, and I didn't want to take the chance, so I thought try the hard tyres, try and be different, and try on the last lap try and be faster, you know. There's a lot of tries in that sentence. But braking into this corner now, going a little bit wide again and accelerating out the other side, losing again, more time. It is annoying now. I'm a second down from just not taking that corner optimally, and quite frustrating really, because you see the two cars in front have just left me standing. Braking in this corner, third gear, coming round and then letting off, coasting it through a little bit better than I just did, to the right hand side, and then bring it back over to the left, rubbing that curb on the left hand side and accelerating out of the corner, keeping it as far over to the left as you can, onto the bank a little bit, and then diving it over the right and cutting onto the blue, trying to maximize the track width and the track limits and try and keep the car straight as possible. I'm not too sure what happened in front. The Hyundai came out of ghost, but I'm not going to complain. We're in P10 position. I just don't understand what happened there. Anyway, braking down to third gear, taking this corner around about 75 miles per hour. I have no idea why I went down to second gear. I think I was out of focus to what the car was doing behind me. Anyway, coming through here, over the curb we go on the left hand side, and then bring it back over to the right. Try and maximize the track width a little bit more. I do think that the Hyundai behind me, his tyres are completely worn out. That's why they're nowhere near keeping up with what we had before. The Hyundai in front probably tyre safe far better than that one behind, and thus obviously getting away from us. They are 3 seconds ahead. Absolutely astronomical time they've managed to gain on me in the last 2 laps. And you can see now the hard tyre was the better choice, because if I was on medium tyres they would be absolutely shredded. These hard tyres are almost onto minor wear. So again, that was probably a better strategy to play, although I was slow overall due to being at a tyre disadvantage. At the last lap, I'm sort of in a better position than other cars to an extent. I don't think really I saved any time. I think overall probably lost more time by being on my hard tyres. But the next race is at Yas Marina, where things take an unusual turn. Before we get there, I'd just like to thank our channel members, which is Andy Good and Jeffrey Anderson. Now, we are at Yas Marina and I didn't qualify because there was no need really. Although I continued from the race previously, there was only 3 of us in this lobby. Now, I did send the car quickly around the track on medium tyres to see what kind of lap time I sent, and I was consistent with the 2 other players in this race. With that in mind, I expected us to have a more competitive race, and I was hoping for that kind of style of racing to go forward. The 2 cars in front did qualify to set a 108 point something around this track, both of them around about the same, and I was setting 108s on medium tyres. So whether there was on softs or mediums, I'm not too sure. It'd be great to know if there was. But as we come around this corner, down to second gear, rub that curb on the left hand side and accelerate out the corner. Now, as you can see, we do have an Audi and a Focus in front. So I tried going up the slipstream over the Audi, and the Audi was just trying to either let me pass, because I was hoping to push the Audi along to catch up to the Focus, or the Audi was just trying not to let me have the slipstream. Not too sure what their thought on process was, but anyway, we have the position made. I've got to catch up to the Focus now. I do quite like the Focus. I do think it's a very good car. Although I do think it is quicker than the Astra, to be fair. I'm not too sure if it's better than the Astra. Let me know down in the comments below which one you think is better, the Ford Focus or the Astra. As we come around this corner, come around in third gear onto the curb on the right hand side and accelerating out the corner, bring it back over to the left, trying to get more to that curb than I just did, and back over to the right and try and take more of the curb on the right hand side as well. You can see I'm having to let off because I'm going a little bit too wide and the Ford Focus is getting away. Braking at the 100-meter board down to second gear, turning in, hitting that curb on the left hand side and accelerating as early as possible to have a quick curve run down the straight. You see I did massively catch up to the Ford Focus in front through that just one corner alone. I'm going to see if I can try and make a move. Now my idea now is to keep to the right hand side, have the outer part of the track, but I'm going to brake earlier than the Ford Focus. I know the Ford Focus is going to brake later, and thus I can play the old switcheroo move. There you go, they've gone in deep. I'm going to cut up the inside and then cut up the inside of the second corner as well, and pretty much force my way across in the third corner and making them having to back out, and away we go, another position gained. Absolutely brilliant. We're in P1 position. Looking at the 100 board down in third gear, rubbing that curb on the left hand side, really trying to get as close to that wall as possible and accelerating out the other side. Bringing it back over again, try and get close to that wall on the left hand side, then bring it back over to the right. Try and get your right hand wheels on the right hand part of the curb and really maximizing the track limits and width and sending it down here. Looking out for the 100-meter board, hard on the brakes down to second gear. I ultimately let off and adapt the brakes again to rotate the back of the car around and accelerate out the corner and flat out down the straight. We are now 1 second ahead of the Ford Focus and 2.7 seconds ahead of the Audi, which is really good, really, considering this car is known to not be so good. Again, looking out for the 150 board, braking down to second gear, turning in, over the curb we go, bringing it over out and then bring it deep back in, keeping over to the left hand side onto the blue and then cutting the curb on the right, and away we go. Crossed over the start and finish line, we're going to set a lap time of a 109.279. Looking out for the 100 board, hard on the brakes down to third gear, over the curb you go, try and get closer to the wall than I just did, but because I've reduced the bump stiffness and bump rebound and everything, I can go on that curb on the right hand side and not be so heavily affected as I once was. And it is a very, very soft setup on this car, and I think it kind of needs it, really. I know a lot of big tuners use a very hard setup, and for me it doesn't seem to work that well. I find it too stiff, too rigid, it understeers a lot, and I can't ride the curbs as much as I do. I just end up bouncing around everywhere. So having a very soft setup like I am now, you can still see, although I'm cornering, the car is not swaying or like a boat or anything like that. It's just riding the curbs a lot better, and when as I'm cornering, the front tires are digging into the ground below. Now look at this now, 1 lap later, we're 3.1 seconds ahead of the 2 cars behind. The Ford Focus has either backed off or the Audi caught up, and them 2 are now racing each other, and I'm on my own little bubble, providing I do not go off track. As we start our last lap, we are now 5.7 seconds ahead of the car behind, and 6.8 seconds ahead of the Audi. Coming around here, you can see on the medium tyres, I have managed to make them work, but they are really starting to show their wear. As I come around this corner, I'm going quite wide, having to dab on the brakes to try and bring it back in. I'm about to hit minor wear on the front, but I did tyre save on the last 2 laps, and I also got a new lap record of a 108.679. As I say though, I was tyre saving on these final 2 laps because I wanted to finish the race in one piece, and there was no real need to keep pushing forward and try and keep bettering my times if I'm going to win this race. I'd rather just tyre save and just relax, really. As we're sending it down here, looking out for the 150 board just after it when the curb starts, braking down to second gear, rubbing that curb on the left hand side, bring it back over, understeering a good amount here. So I'll bring it back over to the right, turning a little bit early, but end up still overall cutting the corner like an absolute plum and giving myself a 0.5 second penalty. Absolute plum of a moment. But we're going to head over to Hakone now, and that was an absolute blast of a race. Again, I didn't qualify, but I think there was only 11 of us in the lobby, so I'm starting pretty much mid-pack-ish. so can't really grumble at that. And I did again choose the medium tires. There we are, starting off in P7 position. Again, I think there's only 11 of us in the race, and everybody that's in front of me right now qualified. So I pretty much started at the beginning of the non-qualifying grid, which is actually quite a nice place to be, mid-pack, and it wasn't too chaotic this race. And I did have a good few battles here, and it was really good, to be fair, and I can't really grumble at that. Making a move on the Honda in front and sending it behind Command Joe C, trying to catch up to the Audi and try and make a move work. You see I'm really sending it up here now. I'm going to go to the right hand side. I've got a Mercedes behind me. It's also trying to find a way to go, and the Audi to the left hand side keeps door banging me for some reason. It's not like it's wide enough, and I ultimately think they tried taking me out there, because there's no need to swoop that heavily to the right hand side. Mercedes comes up the inside, and we end up door banging each other, and I end up losing, really. There's no really best way of saying that one. Gonna thread the needle between these two Audis. Again, the Audi to my left hand side does bang my doors again, and really the Commander Joe C is a very not aware of what the surroundings are. Is the best way of putting it, because they also take out this Audi in front of us now, straight up the back end, and sending the Audi to wherever they want to go. Oh, I'll give them a little touch back and say I'm not here to be messed around with. I will win overall. Civic goes off track, comes back on. I overtake the Civic and then pull myself back in. Looking out for the 150 board, breaking down to third gear, coasting it through, and trying to catch up to P6 position in front, which is also again another Audi. This race is quite dominated by Audis by the looks of it. So lucky enough though, with the Audi being in front and being a little bit more powerful, I can keep up the slipstream, and ultimately I want to catch up to the pack that is in front and far away. I'm going to send it behind the Audi, keep that pressure on. You can see they're trying to break the toe, and ultimately they don't work. I'm going to look up the inside on the right hand side, looking at the second billboard canopy over Hakone, and breaking down the third gear, taking it nice and tight through here. I said on the other side, I expected the Audi to be more to my left hand side, but obviously they wasn't, and they backed off ultimately in that corner. I ended up going through that corner a little bit slower than I wanted, but we made it work. We still have that position. Coming around here in fourth gear, letting it coast around, applying a little bit of throttle, and then braking hard down the third gear. Keeping the curb on the right hand side as much as you can, because you want to come out of the corner, keep to the right, and then fly it over to the left hand side, over the curb on the left hand side, and try and maximize the exit speed of this corner, because this is a nice long straight and you want the fastest run out on that corner. You see I made a massive gap to the Audi behind, and going to keep to the left hand side, looking out for the 150 board there, and then breaking down the third gear, taking it a bit tighter than I did through here, and then as soon as you're coming round the last half of the corner, full throttle it through and over the curb on the right hand side, and then straight through the section here. The Audi did catch up to me a little bit. Now they're going to be in my toe, which is something I don't want. An Audi in the toe of a car is an Audi that's very quick. That's all I can say. You see, they're 0.5 seconds away. They had a better exit than I did, while also having the toe. Gonna look out for the second Hakone sign in front and breaking it down to third gear. I was looking at the Audi thinking, are they going to go up the inside? And they don't. So I put my foot back down, keep to the outside, and cutting across here, trying to make that move work. Again, I thought they was going to make the move, and they don't. This is where it's holding us up from the cars in front, because I can't seem to figure out if they're going to make the move or not. Anyway, third gear, coming around this corner, keep it to the right hand side, and then bring it back over to the left. There's a car going into the pits there. Did someone forget to change their tyres? We've all been there. We've all been there. Now, we only have one car away in front, and we are on podium. Vinny Gambini 82 is also in an Audi, but they have a 0.4 second penalty. So with that in mind, if I can catch up to them and keep within the 0.4 seconds, I will have P3. I just need to try and catch up to them. That's the big shot in the Astra. I've got to try and make a move. Now, the Astra is very good now in the corner. It's very good on this track, to be fair. I'm going to send it down here. There's not the slowest in the straight line. I was quite shocked at really how the Audi wasn't massively gaining upon me down here, but yeah, I'm not grumbling. Braking at the second sign, down the third gear, gonna take it as tight as I can and out to the outer curb, and then letting off the throttle, dabbing the brakes, bringing it around, keep it to the curb on the right hand side, accelerating out, down the hill we go, looking out for the 50 board, dabbing the brakes, into fourth gear, rub that curb on the left, and then harden the brakes down to third gear here, and then coasting it round this corner. You can see I'm really caught up to Vinny Gambini in front. Now, the idea is, do I make a move or do I stay behind? I think I want to try and take the position because I don't want to be held up and then other cars joining in on the party. So I'm going to see if I can make a move somewhere and ultimately overtake them. Braking through here, third gear, coasting them round, accelerating flat out of the other side, and I'm going to have a better run out of this corner, looking to see if I can hold that slipstream and really make this corner work. But they are getting away from me a little bit here, so it's going to have to be the next time around, because I don't think I'm going to be able to catch them up on this back straight now. More the Astra is going to keep up with the toe of somebody rather than send it past them. Anyway, looking out for the second Hakone sign, braking down to third gear and keeping to the curb on the right side, bring it to the outer curb and then down with the brakes again here. Now you can see I caught up to the Audi again in front, so I know they're going to be faster in a straight line than I am, but ultimately I'm going to be quicker in the cornering, and that is where I want to shine and make a move on the Audi in front. And you see I'm all over them, trying to look for position. I'm more trying to put them off their pace or off guard and keep them distracted is the best way of putting it. And rather than keep looking at what it's the person behind me doing, than looking at where they're going, and then I can capitalize upon that. I'm getting squeezed a little bit here, but I'm going to look out for the 150 board and then be braking it down to third gear. End up door rubbing a little bit, but they do have the inside line, so they're going to be quicker out of this corner than I am. You can see there we are, they're quite a lot ahead, but I do have a better run, and ultimately I'm going to try and look for a move on the left hand side here. They're going to go back over to the right, I'm going to swing it over to the left, still breathing in on their slipstream and sending it down here. Now I'm going to be ahead of them. It is the last lap, my front tires are on minor wear. Problem I have now is I can still, there they are right there, and they're going to squeeze me onto the gravel. Was not expecting that. A very clever move right there, and it's a kind of move I would make. So oh no, 0.8 seconds away. Come on now, Astra, come on Astra, you can make it. Send it up behind them. Still got a little bit of tire grip left. They're going to be on minor wear hopefully. Look out for the 50 board, down with the brakes, letting it coast around through this corner. He's catching up right now, 0.2 seconds away. And yeah, just got to keep that in, rubbing that curb on the right hand side. I want to maximize this corner exit here, rubbing that curb on the left and flat out keeping in their slipstream and not let them get away. 0.3 seconds. Do we get podium position after all of that? Let's have a look. We do. We got podium. At the end of all that, 2 amazing races, and the first one was a learning curve. But thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Goodbye.